say you need a miracle.
Hi, welcome to the GameChanger. This is Curt Pickering, my co-host, and I'm Michelle Harris, and we have Lou Ventura back, our special guest, for part 2 of our show talking about Lyme disease. That's actually right here in Santa Barbara County, and Lou has been sharing with us his journey on what he's endured through the GameChanger in his life of dealing with Lyme disease and how he's overcoming it. And he's informing us and the community that there may be people out there in our community with Lyme right now that are not being diagnosed. So welcome back, Lou. And we wanted to talk some more, continue where we left off. You had brought some things up about what maybe you were doing for your Lyme, and you were talking something about blood.
Oh, well, it's really interesting. In these Lyme communities that you go on, you find out that it's bloodborne because Babesia is a small protozoa. It's in every red blood cell of your body. Bartonella, same thing. It's a very small. There's an argument of whether it's a bacteria or it's a parasite, but it doesn't really matter. It's in your blood. And I'm talking in this one Lyme community. There's about 40 people in there, 50 people, and somebody said, "Hey, can you give blood?" And the answer is absolutely not. But all of a sudden, everyone starts saying, "Oh, I give blood all the time. Oh, I give blood all the time." And I was sitting there stunned. And then somebody said, "Oh, the Red Cross says if you take 2 weeks of antibiotics, you can give blood." And it's like, absolutely not. Because it doesn't do anything for the co-infections, and it does sit there dormant. And if you get it, and then you take prednisone, you are in a bad position. So there's a real, I don't want to call it a fear, but do you remember when the AIDS epidemic hit?
Yes.
And they were screaming about the blood supply.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, this blood supply is dirty. And it's dirty with people who give they give their blood, and they're Lyme patients. And I'm not saying they're bad people, they're trying to do a good thing. But what ends up happening is it's in the blood supply. And everyone's been screaming about it. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw they now have a screening for a couple of the co-infections. So they're going to be, I think it was the Babesia. I think they're going to be able to screen for Babesia, but they're not screening for Lyme. But people all back east, New York, Pennsylvania, Lyme, Connecticut, these places are loaded with Lyme. People are giving blood. And in Santa Barbara, there are a lot of people who are infected who have been diagnosed with either fibromyalgia, some with Alzheimer's, who it could just be a form of Lyme, lupus. These people give blood on a regular basis, and they don't know it. They're not doing it to be mean or to try to infect.
They don't know.
But it's a real concern. And so the idea that California has no Lyme is crazy. And now there's another virus strain of the Lyme. I think 78 or 80 people is on the deer tick. If you get the viral form of this, it can kill you really fast. But what they do is they put you into an induced coma, and then they give you, they keep you hydrated. And your body on the viral Lyme will actually respond to it. And so if you can make it past that critical part, you won't die from it. And I think a few people have died, 4, 5, 6. And of the 78, most of them, they figured out what to do and how to get them through it. But now there's another strain that's come up. In California, generally speaking, they did a bunch of testing of ticks up north over Memorial Day weekend, and most of the ticks that they collected at 4,000 or 5,000, and all of them were infected. They were infected with Lyme, Babesia, Bartonellas. So all of them are infected. It's like this is a real problem. We have to figure out how to protect the blood supply, and we also have to find out who really has Lyme and who doesn't. And we need better screening than the Western blot. And there's a lot of, I some good information. You can go to Lyme Crime. It's Lyme and then Crime, CRYME. That talks about the CDC, and it's about an hour long. The first 7 minutes kind of dry, but once you get past that, it's okay. And that's really good. There's another one called Truth Cures, and there's some information there. You'll get mad when you see it. And then there's other things. I've read a lot of books. One is a Killing Guard, and they believe that Lyme was genetically engineered in the 50s. It's been around since before time, but they're saying that the genomes in them, there's too many, and they think it was altered. And then that runs you down kind of the conspiracy world where there's this Plum Island, and you can YouTube Plum Island and learn all about Plum Island. And there's a whole series of where they brought somebody from Germany over and tried to do germ warfare with ticks. And that kind of alludes to the first. Plum Island is 7 miles as the bird crows from Lyme, Connecticut, which is the first place this Lyme showed up they can't do. So there's a whole world of conspiracy out there, but the reality is none of that matters. What matters is what are you doing to help yourself? And things you can do, hyperbaric chamber, there's some studies that you do it, so I do hyperbaric chamber.
And how often do you do that?
Well, it depends on, there's a couple ways of doing hyperbaric. You go in a hyperbaric chamber and you put on pure oxygen in the mask. So it's pressurized air around you, but you're breathing pure oxygen, it works. And then I think there's less side effects, but I don't know if it's as effective. And then the way I do it is I go into a pure oxygen, and I'm pressured, they put it to 3.3 is the pressure that they put on. I think it's either, I don't know if one atmosphere is 16 feet or 33 feet, I'm not quite sure. But I go 3.2 down, and I stay down for an hour and a half, something like that. And let me tell you, it really helps with the inflammation. It helps with the arthritis. It makes you more mobile. I usually do that. I was doing it 5 days a week. But after I got to my 24th dive, I had what infants get, the preemies get, which is a myopia. So I lost my vision down to, I called myself Mr. Malou, because I couldn't see, I wouldn't be able to see your faces. I could see right in front of me, and that lasted about a month. So, and then it started to happen again at about the 24th dive again, the second round, but I caught it. First it was one eye was blurry at about 40 feet. And I told the guy on Friday about it, and then on Monday, both eyes were blurry, and I'm like, hey, I got to stop. But so I'm 2 to 3 times a week. 2's comfortable. Infrared sauna. You know, you learn in the Lyme world, it's all about detox. It's about neurotoxins. It's about basically the poop of the Lyme and the co-infections. They have neurotoxins. Your liver can't process it, and you're taking pills on top of it to try to kill. So your liver's trying to process what's going through your liver as well as the neurotoxins. Right. And so you have to learn how to detox. You have to learn about glutathione. You have to learn to do infrared saunas. More isn't better in the infrared world. 35, 40 minutes is good. You go beyond that, it's not good for you. You learn about GABA, and because most Lyme people are insomniacs, and that because of imbalance of glutamine, not glutathione, but glutamine and GABA in the brain, and so you got to deal with that. And there's a whole host of what goes on.
So, go ahead, Curt.
I was just going to ask, how important is diet and exercise?
In the beginning, I couldn't exercise because it takes every bit of your strength. I would go up one flight of stairs, and it was like I ran the stadium a couple times. So diet gave me a little more endurance, and then going after this, hyperbaric, detoxing, all of that made it so that I could exercise. So I started out with short walks, then it was short biking, and then I worked up. So I certainly could do a lot more than I could a year ago. I'm still sick. I've had a couple little weird episodes. I was detoxing the other day, and I have blackouts. And right now I'm dealing with, I think my cortisol, you probably seem like a hyper case, but my cortisol and my adrenal are going pretty fast. And so I'm dealing with sweating and rage, anger. So these are, but everybody's in a different place.
Yeah, sounds like your body is fluctuating to so many different things. When you're talking about infrared and glutathione and hyperbaric and all that, why do you think that, that regular doctors are not referring their patients to do this kind of therapies?
Well, doctors go to school. I know a couple doctors that have come out of med school, the younger guys, and they say what we learn in the books is you have this symptom and you go and you do this. This is the pharmaceutical that connects to this. This is this. It must be that. And they're not looking at the problem. One of the things that happened in one of my last blood tests, This is a couple months ago, and I have two doctors. I have a Lyme doctor. They're LLMDs. You got to go to Lyme literate doctors, MDs. You can also go to naturopaths, but Lyme literate, they're trained. They kind of understand how it works. The traditional thinking, and what you find out is doctors really don't know a lot. I mean, they know how the body works, but they don't really. I mean, think of the pyramid that we used to have. It's upside down.
Right.
No, low fat is killing people. I'm on a huge high fat, high protein diet right now because I can't eat the sugars. I can't eat the carbohydrates.
Tell us what you eat. What do you eat?
Well, today I ate before I came here, I ate 1.5 pounds of hamburger, and I took a big thing of asparagus and I snapped it, put it in a pan, put a bunch of butter in it, salted the heck out of it, and then cooked the burger and then dumped the entire thing on top of it and ate it. Tonight will be, I crock pot a lot of chicken, and then I'll put in butter, and then it'll be in the refrigerator, because if you want to live your life, there's so much you have to do in the medication and the detoxing that it takes up a lot of your day. So having to prepare the food, you better prepare in advance. So the crock pot works really well. So I make mounds of chicken. I eat a lot of chicken Caesar salads with avocado. I eat 3, 4, 5 avocados a day. You need fat. My coffee, I talk about my coffee all the time. I have this huge mug, but it really is 1 ounce to 2 ounces at best of a decaffeinated coffee. And then I use about 2 inches or more of whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, because there's no sugar in heavy whipping cream.
Okay.
See, people will do these half and halves, there's sugar in it. They'll go to the low fat is loaded with sugars. So you do heavy whipping cream and there's no sugar in it. Makes coffee taste better anyways. You guys will thank me for that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then
Write
I put in about 1 ounce of caprylic oil, because the fats protect your brain from the attacks that are going 24 hours a day. So, and then I have hot water in it. So really it's kind of a weird coffee concoction of fats. And so that's part of what I eat. But, I eat broccoli, and I love Brussels sprouts, and, and I've got, I do a lot of lemon zesting, because the outside rind of lemons, you put it into whatever you're cooking, and it's kind of antiviral, antimicrobial, and so those are, ways of eating. There's, if you have Lyme, you think you have Lyme, there's Byron White makes a product that you can go, it's Abart and NT. They're nasty tasting, but they're a proprietary blend of herbs that can help, with fighting the Lyme. Also, Beyond Balance has some stuff. There's this research company. I have to take, one of the things that happens with Lyme, with anybody, when you start taking a lot of antibiotics, there are things in your body. Everybody has a mold in their body. They have lots of different molds in their bodies. And when you're taking antibiotics, or you have Lyme and it shuts down your immune system, they become opportunistic. And I was arguing with my doctor about it, and then I read another book by Killingard, and he was like, no, mold takes over, because, so I was tested, and then my mold levels were 5 times what they're supposed to be.
Wow.
So that was interesting. But I was going to go one place. I forgot. On my blood test, my last blood test, my general doctor, my regular doctor, he saw that my cholesterol had gone from, I was always normal, always had great cholesterol, I have great blood pressure, all that, okay. But it went crazy, it was like 288. And his immediate response was, and my white blood cells had been shut down, they were down to 2, and my red blood cells were down to 1, my hemoglobin was down to 135, so it was dropping rapidly. I was in the 300s and it was dropping. So Lyme was shutting down everything, all my autoimmune responses. Well, all of a sudden my immune system starts to kick in, and your cholesterol goes up. And my white coat doctor says, oh, we better be thinking about a statin because your cholesterol's going up. And I was like, no. When you, I go to a nutritionist now, and once you understand the chain, cholesterol is the master hormone. It's the master hormone. It makes all other hormones in your body. If you need thyroid, it says, fire up the cholesterol, we need thyroid. I mean, so if you take and you knock down that cholesterol, you're not looking for the problem. What you're looking for is you're saying, I want to knock this number down so it's in the right, it fits within our little bracket,
Right, and
but it doesn't
something else.
fix the problem. So when I called my Lyme doctor and I told him, he said, no, this is a great sign. your body's trying to come back on board. It's trying to make hormones. It's trying to make it's trying to make all the things that you're missing. Maybe you're folating now, because most people, 90% don't folate. I think we talked about that in the first show. And it's the mindset of the way the doctors work, the way the insurance companies work, is horrible because nothing's covered until it flips to something bad. If you have fibromyalgia, lupus, or any of those underlying autoimmune diseases, you should go get tested for Lyme. And you should either do IGeneX, DNA connections, or talk to your doctor about if you're doing Western blot, a C6. I think it's C6 test or something. And those are really important steps to take control and learn, because I can tell you the white coats, they know a lot, but they in this area, in this town, they don't know anything.
So with all this information and this journey that that you're walking your life right now, what has it done for you personally?
Well, you don't want to be cliche and go, I appreciate life, you don't appreciate, but.
How's it changed you?
Well, I get up in the morning, I have a faith, and I get up in the morning and I thank God for what I haven't lost. Because it really, you lose stuff. Stuff is taken away from you slowly, and you don't know what it is that you're going to lose. It used to be I lost my nights. It used to be by 6 o'clock at night I was in agony with pillows on my head trying to drown out all the sound until the next day. That's been returned to me. So I have my nights back. So I appreciate that. And the other thing is, you don't in the faith world. I'm not trying to preach, but in the faith world, so many people pray for you and they call you up or they check in. I haven't heard from you, and it makes you say, people, do they care? Yeah, they inherently. I mean, for somebody to take the time out of their day just to say, "Lord bless Lou" or whatever. I'm not trying to preach here.
Right.
I'm just saying, that means something. That So I have a thing I do, and I do it because I'm a Catholic guy, and I do it to all of my friends, and if any of them see it, they'll get a good laugh out of it. I tell them, I say, well, what I do is when I pray at night, I ask God to bless any and everybody who's praying for me tenfold. So if you want a tenfold blessing, you better be praying for me.
I'm be praying for you tonight.
Yeah, right. And then I got called out by a nun. Said, why are you limiting God to 10%?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, you got me. So you really do appreciate it. And you have to take control of your own health. If you walk in there believing that the guy in the white coat knows enough to help you, you're wrong. And then know the pills before you take them. Know what you're taking. A lot of people have been severely damaged by the Quinn class, Levaquin. A lot of people have been damaged by that antibiotic. It does a lot of damage to a lot of people. These antibiotics hurt you, and I take a lot of probiotics between. I'm on a pulse treatment, so I take 3 trillion live strain antibiotics between. So there's a lot.
I have to share a little story. Lou and I ran into each other at Costco's a couple weeks before Christmas, and he shared what he was going through. And we started texting back and forth. I was in North Carolina to see family, and I've fallen in love with country music. So we text, and I remember the song came to me, Alan Jackson's Precious Memories. Next thing you know, Lou's right on it. He texts me the YouTube song, and I'm playing it, and the lyrics are there, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. And what you're saying about friends, man, there's nothing like having that support system.
Yeah, it's tough, and in the Lyme world, the poor family, you see it. Like I said, I'm probably connected to 30 or 40,000. I don't know them personally, but I'm connected to them, and I read their stories. It's like a stalker, And what ends up happening is, a lot of marriages fail. And I'm with my wife 38 years, and it is amazing that she gets it. She sees the struggles, and she gets it. And most people, their spouses, because look at me, do I look like I'm sick?
No.
Other than I look like I'm 1,000.
No, you don't.
But for the most part, oh, he looks fine. You wouldn't know he's in pain. You wouldn't know he's this. And there's a video out called, I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, it's Sarah's Story. And I saw that's about a 12-minute video, and boy, that nailed it. That really nailed it. I saw it. Actually, I might have got teary-eyed. I don't know. But that really, there's so much to Lyme, and there's so much to learn. And really what you got to do is, anybody with any autoimmunes, get them tested for Lyme. And if you get bit, this is probably the most important part. If you get bit by a tick, don't assume it's not infected because you didn't get the bullseye. If you get bit and you didn't get the bullseye, or you didn't even know you got bit, but you suspect Lyme, it's 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks of doxycycline, moxicillin, or Ceftin, and there's a few others in there, but those are the most effective early on, and never take prednisone.
Right. So if someone gets bit, what if they feel nothing?
You usually won't feel anything.
Okay.
You'll either get the bullseye or you won't. And only 20 or 30%, I think it's 25, 30, it's somewhere between 20 and 30% actually manifest the bullseye.
Okay.
The other ones still have Lyme if they're infected, but don't manifest it. So you can't go, well, I didn't get the bullseye. You have to treat it, because once it goes subcellular and comes back with these biofilm, now it's got this protective Vaseline layer basically around itself, and antibiotics bounce off of it. So to get to that parasite, and there's some other things you can take if you can't afford a lot. What you see is people with colitis. They eat sushi. Some of these people, it's Lyme. When you have intestinal problems, it can be Lyme. Then there's this stuff called Cystis T that I've stumbled on. There's this thing, another thing you can do to help yourself. It's called NRF2. It's a diet, so it's phyto-rich, it's antioxidant-rich diet that can help you. But diet's everything. Cutting the sugars or anything that looks like sugars means a lot. And if you refuse to do it, you will remain in the sick world. Exhaustion. That's huge. And my doctor, it's kind of funny, I stumbled on it the other day. He's at the Amen Clinic. His name's Mark Philaday. He's got a couple quick little videos. One's 3 minutes and the other's like 10 minutes. But you go Amen Clinic down in Orange County, Mark Philaday, and you can watch his videos. And he'll just kind of talk about it. And he looks at it in a different way. He looks at it, what is causing this? When he tested me for the mold, I didn't think mold was going to be an issue, but then I didn't know anything, and I keep learning, and now I know more. And you start understanding. He told me there's a new test now that tests for like 20,000 different things in your body, things that we never even knew about, and I'm kicking around taking that test. Like I said, I'm fortunate I can afford the test. Most people can't. So they just suffer. They take Cystis T. A lot of people make their own tinctures. They use egg one, the cat's claw, and some of the bad information. One of them, they say stevia kills Lyme, and people say that, but if you actually read the article to the end of the article, it says in a test tube. And if you read other studies, it says your body takes stevia and it doesn't know what to do with it. It's not a sugar, so it just sticks it in a fat cell. So it doesn't kill anything, it just puts it in your body. So I think of it as, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think why would you take your body's immune system and deter it with stevia extract and Horowitz, who is one of the big Lyme guys, he says use stevia extract. So maybe he knows something I don't know, but I've not found. I've asked people to cite it, show me the study, and every time I see the study, always at the end of the study it says works in the test tube, not in the body. So you gotta read, you have to look. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I don't want anybody else to think, because people play. I would have my yard, if you live in the country or anywhere near I would have my yard done. They have pellets you can put down, and I would start treating my yard. I would watch my pets, because they took the tick component out of the dogs. So if you have a dog and he's going in and out, he's bringing ticks in. So you want to take them to the vet and get them treated, because they call them tick taxis, and it's not pretty.
Well, you've been an absolute wealth of information.
There's a lot more.
So what would be, just real quick, before we wrap all of this up today, those highlights for the people, like you were saying, can you repeat a couple things for people that can't afford to go to the hyperbaric chamber 3 times a week, or what would be the main?
You just type in Lyme disease. Cowden is one guy that has you can make your own tinctures. One lady I was reading, I told you guys earlier, I was reading it. you mix it, you put in the ingredients, the herbs, and then she uses vodka as her alcohol mix. Some people use other kind of alcohols, but there's a lot of Cowden, which will lead you to a couple others. Killingard's got a protocol. So there are Lyme books that have a protocol that you can do yourself, and a lot of people are doing the herbs themselves. But if I can say anything, you don't want to, the Herxheimer reaction is horrible. It's like food poisoning on steroids. You don't want it, so you better learn how to detox while you're killing, because that's just as deadly to your body. When you can't move the toxins out, your body gets kind of sepsis and you get ill.
So detoxing.
Detoxing is huge, and infrared saunas if you can find them, and you want carbon plates. You don't want the porcelain plate. You want carbon plate, and you want non-toxic wood. So a lot of these Chinese infrareds are toxic. So you want natural woods. Canada sells some. Sunray saunas sell some. I think they're out of Canada. Sunlight has them also. But detox. Glutathione, it's cheap. There's a place in Los Alamos that you can get it where you can put under your tongue, or you can buy liposomal glutathione, and you get that at the Rexall. Really good. It's a really high, good quality. That's in Montecito on the corner there. That Rexall has them. They have high quality vitamins there, and they've got a great nutritionist that's there.
And we spoke earlier that would be okay if we gave an email out if some of our watchers, if they wanted to get more information from you, that we would be able to put that up for them.
Yeah, I think at the end of the show we'll put up, because we don't have one right now. I don't want everybody calling my cell phone.
Right.
Although it's funny, a lot of people in this town, I hear somebody sick, and then the number comes, and then I get this random phone call. And 20 or 30 people at least have called me in this town that are sick and are now on the path to getting treatment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what an amazing story. Not only have you been, climbing this mountain of your own journey, but now you've taken it and you exude so much passion about your life and finding a cure for this, or at least how to endure your life. Remission.
Yeah, some sort of remission.
Some sort of remission for your life, but also a passion of helping and educating others.
This is going to be an uphill battle, like when AIDS first hit the scene. This is an uphill battle because 85% of them have neuro-Lyme, and they call that Lyme AIDS is what they call it. It's because it shuts down your B's and T's, and once your bone's not making the bone marrow, you're in a battle.
Lou, we go back over 20 years. I coached Dominic in basketball. I just want to thank you for being here today and sharing your life with us.
Yeah, well, it's kind of wondering, pulling it out. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for spreading the word. Yeah.
And we will see you next time on A Game Changer.